Welcome back to the Big Picture. This is Grant McGaugh, my host Chris Principe, and we want to talk again. This has been such a hot subject. A lot of people have written in and they've made a lot of comments. We're talking about consumer payments and what we're really going through right now as we shift away from plastic toward platforms that include wallets, include instant rails, and AI-driven checkout experiences. And here's the question that matters for leaders: who controls the consumer at the moment of truth? Is it the bank? Is it the network? Is it the wallet? Or is it the merchant? So in this segment, we're going to break down 10 payment things shaping 2026 digital wallets and their gatekeeper economics. We're talking about, regulation. We're talking about instant payments that's scaling fast with fraud racing right alongside it. So in this next phase, this is very, very important, especially when we talk about AI and agentic commerce, where software doesn't just recommend, it actually transacts. So let's get right into this. Chris, you'd like to introduce yourself today?
Grant, great to see you today. Chris Principe, publisher of Financial IT, and ready for action.
You're always ready for action. He's a banker. What banker do you know that doesn't like talking about money, especially financial IT? Chris is one of the co-owners. Financial IT has been doing this a very long time. I call him a subject matter expert in this world that we're talking about. He is so amped on consumer payments that we had to have a fourth segment around this. These digital wallets, how they've made it easy for people to, I think, really to get into even greater debt when they can, pay later and buy now. That whole concept. Talk to us more about that.
Well, Grant, first, I want to give you a little saying that my grandfather told me when I was young, which he said, don't trust a skinny banker.
Exactly. Keep that in mind. Write it down. AI, that term.
Okay. And I've tried to keep that in place. I want to be trusted.
Speaking of trust, you have no problem in that area. Go right ahead.
Be trust, right? One of my little pet peeves, let's say, is what's called buy now, pay later, right? So this BNPL model, really, it's slowly snuck into there, where you see it when you go to buy something, you go to the checkout, and then you'll see there's an option. Affirmed is one of the largest companies doing this. There's an option: pay in 4 payments, pay per month, pay whatever the different options, right? And they give you that option without checking your credit, without it impacting your existing credit lines. It's in effect a new credit line. It's new money to spend, but it's money you don't have.
Exactly.
So to me, that's what I don't like about it, is that it does encourage people to easily get themselves into additional debt, because it's very easy to say, oh, it's just $50 a week for the next 8 weeks. Well, it sounds very easy. But when you put that on top of your other bills, it becomes a big issue. And I'm just gonna, while I've been working on this topic, I saw something very interesting, right? That there's a Harris poll that just came out, and it said that 30% of individuals earning more than $200,000 a year are either struggling to keep up or falling behind in their financial responsibilities.
200 grand a year is not enough to survive in today's world?
Well, it's a combination of a few things. But 31% of the respondents said that it's been unexpected emergencies, one-time expenses, and the number one reason, divorce.
Yes, the big D word. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So divorces can impact a $200,000 woman's income by about 9%, while for a man, it impacts about 17%. Okay.
Wow.
So you
Okay.
can start to see now how high income individuals can struggle to recover financially.
This is, all these things you're talking about is so interesting. Is he's like, because the cost of living has just gone up. I think no one would say it's gone down. It's just gone up. And then when you have crisis like obviously a divorce is going to impact the household income and things of that nature, you have these elements where you've got to decompress, and reorganize your life around what was really real. And then you've got these BNPL, platforms that make it seem like you can afford to do certain things. And I want to ask you this because in the UK, I hear that the FCA is going to start in July. They're going to start some regulation around these types of things because they think, companies like Affirm, Klarna, PayPal, these other issuers of credit, as you said, they're not even really looking at your credit. They're just giving you the opportunity to get a 30-40% interest on what you're doing, but making it easy for you to get into debt. What do you think about the regulations?
Hmm. Well, I think this area needs regulation. It's one of these things where new innovation, and a lot of times the innovation is good. This is a good innovation in a lot of ways, but
Yeah.
new innovation comes much quicker than the regulations to make sure that they keep in track the consumer's interest, right?
Mhm.
So I'll give you another example. In Cash App, you can go in Cash App and you can borrow money, not a lot, $300-400, whatever it is. And what they do is they don't charge you an interest rate; they charge you a fee.
Yeah.
So if you borrow $400 and you pay it back in 4 weeks, each week you pay $105, and you say, okay, $5. What's $5, right? But the banker in me, of course, and the numbers guy in me right away says $5 a week on $100, 5% per week times 52 weeks. That's an astronomical interest rate they're charging you. I mean,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
we complained, you and I,
Oh, we talk about this all the time that
credit card rate,
the money game is out of control.
right? So this is a big thing. Now, I also want to talk to you a little bit about what's good.
Are we talking about good credit or good opportunities or things that you can consider to build your credit instead of build your debt portfolio? Is that what you want to talk about?
No, what I want to talk about is who's missing in this buy now, pay later, right?
Uh-huh.
Well,
Okay.
the number one lenders in the world, banks.
Uh, the banker. So we're working with the skinny bakers, not the fat bakers. Is that what you're saying?
Well, they feel like they're getting skinnier because companies like Affirm are taking their lending business away. Right? Same
Mm,
thing with payday loans. It
yeah.
takes it takes the business away from the banks. So what we're going to see moving forward is that you're going to start seeing banks partnering with companies, and may not be Amazon, but it'll be all those kind of companies that you buy from online, where the bank will offer you pay now, buy now, pay later against your own credit, whether it's a credit line, an
Mm,
overdraft line, or money you have in your account that they'll freeze. They will offer it. So this way, you won't be charged that high interest rate, right? Because they are limited what they can do. Although I
mhm.
still think it's too high, right? And you won't be charged. It won't be going against your credit. It'll be facilitating and using your existing credit, right? So
Mm.
it's going to be a little bit different of a look, but a different option.
I don't
And
see why it wouldn't help your credit score in the long run if it's still the bank. They're seeing you utilizing this feature, let's say, and it's going against your credit. And if you're making the payment, whatever it may be, then I think it should go up. And before you answer that, I'm going back to something because a lot of people that tune into our show, they're in neighborhoods. And whether you're in St. Croix, in the Virgin Islands, you're where I'm at in Omaha, Nebraska, and Bill, where you were at in Florida, you see these payday loans, right? And it seems like they've taken a page out of this, and it's such a cyclical, predatory lending type thing where they prey on poor people or people that live paycheck to paycheck. A situation occurs, it may not be a divorce, but something else. Your tire blew out, right? You got a car repair that's got to go on. You got other things, so you got to get a payday loan in order to pay that bill. And you're saying, hey, when I get a check in the future because I have a job, you're going to get that money then some, right? Seems like they've taken that online and say, wow, you don't even have to drive over to the payday store. We can do this right here, right now, and make it look easy because it's in your online shopping experience, so it doesn't look as creepy as driving up to the payday loan.
Well, great. Let me clarify one thing that you said very, very clearly for everyone, which is everyone preys on the poor. It's just not the payday loan people. Everyone. If you're rich,
wow, we had to go to pause, but everybody preys on the poor. So that sounds like you got to stop being poor.
yeah. The poor get preyed upon. I'm sorry. That is
just the truth. He who has the gold makes the rules, and that's true. That's how rich people get rich. They get rich on a lot of poor people.
Right. So if we come back to what's going on now, you've already seen digital banks are now offering you your paycheck a couple of days. Right. This is in loans, as one example. So you could actually schedule with the bank that you get paid on Friday, you get some of your pay, say $500 on Wednesday.
Yeah.
You can do that, right? So there are a lot of these things that are coming into play. And again, what I really like about it, of course, is that we're driving innovation. We're driving new options. We're driving new ways of, and more importantly, we are forcing the banks to have to take some action.
I think that's good, but not. And I'm saying some of these things are not. We're not saying they're bad. Sometimes you need to do something because a crisis comes up. It's about continuous use. You don't want to continually use this type of financial vehicle all the time because it's costing you a lot of money. What Chris just said, on $100, if it's $5 a week, that means over a month you've paid $20. So that's what, 25, 30%. I mean, it adds up. Like I said, you want to do this to get you out of a pinch, but this should not be your go-to strategy over time because you're already taxed to death just getting your money, and now you're re-taxed to death when you're trying to utilize your money. So you got to look at this, and I want you to, Chris said it, I'm going to say it real again, everybody preys on the poor. So let's not be poor. Let's be rich. Let's learn how to play this game, play it to win. You're on a monopoly board, right? Let's not start always paying rent. Let's get into ownership. Ownership, Chris. Let's own the game.
Grant, exactly right. And when you talked before about these things should help your credit, look, things that don't help your credit, car loans from the car dealer on the corner, right? Or I should say the used car lot, right? Medical bills, they don't affect your credit, right? These kind of payday loans and these buy now, pay later things also don't have an impact, positive or negative, on your credit, right? And what people don't understand, one of the most damaging things on your credit is credit usage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have $1,000 credit line and you're always at $900, that counts more against your credit and lowers your score more than one late payment. Okay?
Wow.
What they look for, they don't want somebody that has a credit card with zero balance. You're not making any money. You're not good for me. Okay? The sweet spot, and you should shout this everywhere, is to keep your credit usage at about 30%. Right?
30%.
So you have $1,000 credit line. If you run a balance of 300, okay, next month you pay down 100, then you buy something for 100, but you keep it around that 30%. This is the most beneficial thing you can do for your credit.
I want people to understand that because credit usage and financial literacy is so important. You need to understand how the bank communicates with itself. They are a for-profit enterprise. These creditors, they're all for-profit, but how do they make their profit? And what's profitable for them, right? And it's so great because you're right about credit cards. That you said it's $1,000 credit card. Ooh, I have $1,000 to spend. Like, whoa, don't spend all of that because we already know it's going to take you a long time to pay that off, most likely because of where you're at in your financial history. So understanding how to utilize credit is so important. You have to have credit in this world. It's a monopoly board, right? You've got to know how to utilize credit. But you can't be undisciplined about it because it will bite you in the hand. We're going to go to a quick break. We're going to come back because we got to unpack a lot of these things that Chris wants to talk. You see by his face, he wants to eat.
The difference between influence and legacy, it's the platform that carries your voice. You're not visible because you lack talent. You're visible because your brand doesn't speak. I've built 5-star BDM to change that. Most leaders have the expertise, but not the presence, the vision, but not the vehicle. Across 3 cities, one brand is helping leaders rise above the noise. Here in the heart of Omaha, strategy isn't left to chance. It's engineered with precision. In Omaha, we engineered your Zachner brand, AI-powered, data-driven, precise. TISA went from a local nonprofit to a national speaker in 90 days. We don't guess your brand strategy, we build it. On the shores of St. Croix, your brand takes on depth and meaning, shaped through curated retreats and legacy experiences. In St. Croix, strategy becomes soul. Our retreats don't just refine your message, they rediscover your mission. One founder rewrote his entire company story here. Funding followed 30 days later. This is where leaders remember who they were meant to be. In Vibrant Miami, momentum meets amplification, transforming your voice into a movement. In Miami, your brand becomes a movement. Business development accelerators, audience building. Joy came with an old website and an outdated company name, but she left with 5,000 followers and a waiting list. This is where you scale with soul. 3 cities, 1 mission, your legacy ignited. It started with a thread. Let's pull it together. Stop blending and start leading. 5-star BDM, where legacy is engineered, embodied, and ignited. Visit 5starbdm.com and book your brand audit today.
All right, Chris, we are back. We've got a little bit less than that first 15 minutes talking about financial literacy, consumer payments. You've got to be disciplined. Remember, play this game to win. You are on a playing field. This is a sporting event, and your reputation is on the line. Your financial life is on the line, and that's where we got Chris here. He's our coach in the box, right? Coach us up, Chris.
Well, great. Back to buy now, pay later, so we can finish the topic because I got a hotter one after this. So, with buy now, pay later, one of the things that's really encouraged it is the merchant's view, right? We've been talking about the consumer. We talked about the merchant, the company that you're actually buying things from.
Mm-hmm.
Studies have shown that when they offer buy now, pay later options, like from companies like Affirm, right, that they're getting 32% conversion rate on those. So to me, it's one of two things. Is it people that want to buy something and can buy it and just say, well, why should I pay all now? I might as well pay it off because they're giving me the option. And is it people who can't afford to buy it now and say, oh, if I pay it off, now I can afford to have something that I really can't afford to have today, right? So I think those two things are what are really contributing to this exceptional conversion rate. I mean, to add 32% to your conversion rate, it's pretty impressive.
That's big business. Why would you not do that? I understand ease of use. It makes it easier. I know I use it for certain plane tickets. So, like, you know what? I can go ahead and buy this ticket now. I might not fly, actually take the plane for a month or two, depending on what the situation is. But what I do, I'll do that and say, okay, and I'm going to wait, and then I'll pay it, within 30 days and just get it off my books. But what it does for me, which I liked about it, is that I see my Affirm ability to borrow money, let's say, goes up. Because they want me to utilize more. But you got to have that discipline. So I like the ease of use, and I see from the merchant perspective, it's a great way to get people to buy now and don't make price a barrier. Access to what you want to do a barrier. So it makes sense, but you've got to have discipline.
Well, and the other thing, what I like about your approach, Grant, is it's targeted. Okay, I'm not doing this for everything. I'm selectively doing it things that make sense in my financial world to do. Right? Targeted is one of the strategies that people should be using with this. Right? Now, the other thing that for me in looking at this, a merchant that is offering this buy now, pay later service doesn't necessarily need to offer a discount on their products to make the sale. Mm-hmm. So it's also keeping prices, I think, at a better margin for the merchant, why it's become such a fast growing option with a lot of sites.
Man, from a business perspective, I run a business, you run a business, that's gold. You're like, I don't have to discount. I don't have to shave my profit margin just to get more, sale. That's the one way of people, how they grow revenue, right? I want more volume. But if you can still get volume and you're selling at a premium price still, you got to go that way, right?
That's it. So with that, I want to get right into what I think for a lot of people will be a sensitive part of consumer payments. It's a part that we all one way, shape, or form participate in, but it's also an aspect that keeps our retail prices higher. Okay. But by the way, people don't care.
Okay, that's what number one.
Okay. This topic is rewards.
Rewards, yeah.
Okay, it's part of consumer payments now. You go in, there's they're advertising on TV. Rectuin is one of the biggest companies in this, which actually started off as it is a Japanese company, actually. Okay. And what they do, of course, is you buy from certain merchants and you use them, you get 1% back or 2% back. You get it with a lot of the cards that you have. The credit card companies are all doing this. The banks are all doing this. And why are they doing this? Okay. Because, look, this is what happens. I go ahead, I'm going to get, say, Rectuin rewards on something, and I buy it. I'm not as concerned with the price I'm paying because guess what? I'm getting 2% back, and
Yeah.
that 2% comes directly to me in cash. So I really don't care if the next person pays a higher price or pays. I don't really. It doesn't matter to me. Okay. But what I don't care about, what I don't understand is that 2%, Grant. It's not free. Everyone
Mm.
thinks it's free. Oh, I get a check. I didn't do nothing. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting this back. It's not free. It's incorporated in the prices we pay.
Of
And what
course.
merchants have found, what the banks have found, what the credit card companies have found is that this is a way for them, one, to make more money, two, to take more of your money.
Very, very important, how you frame that whole discussion, that you feel like you're getting 2% back on a purchase, or if you're in a reward program, but you don't realize that they've raised the price 5%. So that actually you're making the 3% margin and giving you 2%. I think everybody would take that all day and twice on today is Wednesday. So understanding what that looks like, but you also understand competition. Competition is supposed to control pricing in the market, right? Because everybody that's producing the same product or service, they're going to come across competition. And right now, because of your ability to have access to information, it's not as easy to do that, right? To have a complete monopoly on the pricing, and you can charge whatever it is that you want, and to make that a viable offer. So I think competition should control pricing, even though you get that like I said, that 2% discount, and they're overcharging because they're putting the 5% on the back end, so they get a net profit of 3%, but they still have to adhere to the market, because the market said, yeah, well, that's great and fine, but I can buy the whole thing cheaper over here because I have access to information, especially with artificial intelligence in the game.
Yeah, and Grant, I want to use an analogy for this, right? Which is shoplifting, right? I go into a store, I take a shirt, I stick it in my shirt, and I walk out of the store, right? I got the shirt for free. I'm very happy. Okay. Everyone else that's buying that shirt will pay a higher price because the merchant, the manufacturers all need to cover the cost of the shirt I got for free. But
Yeah.
you know what? I don't care. I got my shirt for free. It's the same thinking that goes on here. Okay. To me, the smart thing for people would be to reject all these rewards, get out of this whole reward system, and make merchants compete to you on price again. And we'll
That's
see
what I'm
better
saying.
prices.
Yeah.
Okay. And I hate seeing all this stuff that, oh, inflation is up and all because of the administration and because of tariffs. The tariffs are not doing, in fact, the tariffs are bringing income into the United States, and a huge income, right? For instance, food prices are not going up because of tariffs. The US as a country is one of the few net exporters of food. We have more food than we can eat. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, why is your
Yeah, understanding the economics, especially in the food industry. If we're making the food here, it's a U.S. product. Why is the pricing going up? I don't know if that's distribution, it's the logistics, or it's just plain old greed. I don't know.
well, whatever. It's partially greed, partially cost of things. But the beef that the tariffs might have, if you're a rich person and you want a $50 Kobe hamburger directly from Japan, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's a premium product, but we're talking about eggs. Price of eggs went out of control. I looked at some steaks and some stuff like that on the shelf, and I looked at that and said, is that right? Is that price actually correct? I should have, a much larger portion of beef that is there. And then, but I don't know what the justification of the cost increases are. I don't know how they say, well, you got to look at the supply chain from the time that that beef was alive and then it finally reaches your store. What's inflating these costs? Is it energy consumption? I mean, I'm not sure.
It's hard to say. Certainly, the beef industry isn't telling us. But but this is what's happening. But it's one segment. I don't think we're seeing a lot across the board. For instance, the beginning of last year, everyone talked about the price of eggs, right? The price of eggs are right back down to normal. Why? Because capitalism works when it comes to supply and demand.
There you go.
More eggs than you need. So this case, maybe it's true also. There's less beef and we're eating more. Hard to say, but it certainly isn't the impact of tariffs. You can't blame that food issue on tariffs.
It's called the lack of information, and you're not doing the data on it. And I think a lack of competition as well. I go back to competitiveness. It's very hard for a company by itself to overcharge if there's other options in the marketplace. It's as well. Why am I paying for beef? Now, if you can justify it because of great branding, right? That this is a premium brand and you should pay more for it. So that's what you do. And I'm not going to play the generic, price. Oh, I'm better than that. People play on people's vanities when it comes to these things. We're going to go to a quick break because we got to really unpack some of these things about consumer spending and what people really know about behavior and how they cue into it and they bank on it, right? They bank on it to make it happen. So we'll be right back.
Third Wall Street is a new emerging global capital markets formation and structured trifactor financial hub at the U.S. Third Border in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, in the Caribbean and Latin America. The new Third Wall Street is the home of the Alexander Hamilton Financial Center and named in honor of Alexander Hamilton, an American founding father, first U.S. Treasury Secretary, and architect of the U.S. financial system and modern America. Third Wall Street is located in a U.S. National Heritage Area, Opportunity Zone, and the boyhood home of Alexander Hamilton in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Island, connecting 3 financial hubs in the Americas by way of new innovative financial technology and markets: New York Wall Street South, Brickell Avenue, Miami, and Third Wall Street in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, and established the new Caribbean America's Single Economy Zone, developed by SETI Case Capital Markets. Third Wall Street will transform financial markets, improving access to capital worldwide. Visit www.thirdwallstreet.com to learn more.
In today's fast-paced financial landscape, access to capital is the key to success. At the heart of this revolution is Case Capital Markets, powered by SETI Case. Here, innovation and investment converge, creating a dynamic environment where businesses can thrive and reach new heights. Introducing Grant McGaugh, the Senior Advisor at Case Capital Markets. Grant is a visionary leader, dedicated to connecting businesses with institutional capital and strategic funding. His expertise opens doors to game-changing investment opportunities, making him an invaluable partner for companies looking to scale and succeed in the competitive world of finance. With an impressive 25 years in technology, 9 years in healthcare, and 6 years in investment banking, Grant McGaugh has a proven track record. He has successfully closed over $500 million in high-value transactions, seamlessly bridging technology, healthcare, and infrastructure with innovative financial solutions. His experience is a testament to his ability to drive success. Case Capital Markets offers businesses direct access to over 32,000 venture capital firms, private equity funds, family offices, and institutional investors. This network empowers mid-market companies with under $100 million in revenue to scale beyond their limits, unlocking unprecedented growth potential. Debt, equity, growth capital, public offerings. These are the building blocks of the future of capital access. Whether you're scaling a business, seeking investment, or exploring market expansion, Grant McGaugh is your trusted partner. Together, you can unlock capital and create long-term financial success. The future belongs to those who take action. Are you ready to elevate your business?
Chris, you are genius. It's like when I talk to you, I'm going back behind the banker's desk into his vault of how he has all this shiny coins. You are sharing all these shiny coins with us, or tokens if you're in the crypto world, and really giving us an inside look of what we should be paying attention to and not be distracted by. So, Mr. Chris, what other things would you like to share with us?
Well, Grant, just to stay sort of in the consumer payments realms topic we talked about already, some interesting developments. We talked about the super apps. One of the big Asian companies, who is a super app company based out of Singapore called Grab, did something that I don't think people really recognize how startling it could be, right? So Grab originally started as a ride-hailing service, like an Uber in Asia, right? And they've expanded to lending, payments, digital banking, all these kind of services for people, right? They just announced the purchase of a US-based investment platform called Stash.
Stash. Wow.
I don't know if you're familiar with Stash or not, but Stash is a banking platform for investing with over 5 billion in assets and over 1 million subscribers. Now, you combine that with Grab, which has 50 million transacting users every month.
Wow.
Okay, so now you can kind of see Grab is going to be able to offer all those people on its super app the ability to invest in the US. Very attractive for people outside the country.
Interesting.
Right? To me, it's kind of a monumental shift because we've typically seen US fintech go outside and buy. All of a sudden now, we have Asian fintech coming inside and buying.
When you say that, I see why. Because US really doesn't have what you call a super app as you described it, like what's going on in Southeast Asia and some other places. So they're probably saying, hey, that they haven't caught up to what we're doing. We might as well get a stake into the US and make this an offer that by the time they finally catch up, let's say, we've already, got, have our stake in the ground, right? And we're already mining the gold.
And it's kind of interesting because it opens the doors now for other super app companies like Alibaba or WeChat or these kind of companies. Now, another interesting topic that I've been watching, and we'll talk about in more shows in the future, robotics, because it's combining so many different things. And I saw something, Grant, really interesting, something maybe every household should have. You can now, for $8,000, buy a robot that can fold your laundry.
Got to see that one. I might go get one of those on my Affirm, right, like tomorrow.
Well, that's right. Go onto your Affirm and do it. It takes between 30 and 90 minutes, depending on how much laundry you have. It can't do big sheets, for instance, that kind of stuff. But it not only folds it neatly, but it stacks it for you.
Really?
Yeah. That's right. The name of the company is called Wave Robotics, right? Kind of interesting. Another one, the World Cup is coming up. You and I are going to talk more about that in future shows. But today, one of the things that I saw is in Mexico, where a lot of the World Cup is going to go on, the Mexican police are going to deploy quadruped robots, right? So dog-like robots.
Yeah, I've seen those, yeah.
Will be streaming live video, issuing voice commands directly from police officers and going into risky environments. You can just see the shifts that are happening, right? And then the last one here.
You just said, I just heard you say that. You can't just go by that quickly. You just told me that RoboCop is a real deal in 2026. We got RoboCop coming into the hood. Let's just into the hood and telling all your business before they bring the real boys in. That's what I just heard.
Yeah, that's exactly what you heard. And again, to go you one more about us, and then I'll pull it all together. Waymo, right? Which is the company that's doing robo taxi service around the world, right? they've decreased their accidents by 90%, and as a result, just got $16 billion in funding to
Wow.
expand their service on the U.S. and abroad. And at the same time, Uber is now going to roll out robo-taxi services in Hong Kong, Madrid, Houston, and Zurich. So they're testing different markets in different areas of the
I don't
world.
know about you, and I know you're probably my age, but I remember this show called The Jetsons, where they had these cars, but even though they were kind of hovering over the ground, but they were self-driving. Are we saying now we're going to be Jetson-like economies and a civilization of self-driving vehicles?
Yeah, Grant. I mean, and here's the thread that's tying all this together, right? Is
Man, I remember my dad used to tell me that he lived for the fact one day he would see flying cars. And this is the thing that people need to understand, that everything that we can imagine, we can actually build. It might take some time,
yeah.
but everything that I saw that came out on Star Trek, that came out almost on Star Wars and Jetsons, we haven't invented everything, but we're starting to see these things are actually possible, and we're starting to deploy them at scale.
Yeah, and like I said, the part that for most Americans need to be concerned about is a lot of these jobs which people have taken for granted and do, like driving taxis, like being security, like folding your laundry, are going to start going away.
Well, here's another thing before everybody is comfortable with saying, oh, I don't do that. Let me talk about data analysts. I was just on a show earlier today where there was a real estate individual there, and he showed by utilizing his AI tool set, he was utilizing Claude, that he was able to do deep analysis on finding the exact types of properties that he can then acquire in minutes instead of, he said, if I had done it with a regular analyst, it would have took me 4 months. So you look at the economy of scale. So don't just think it's going to be manual labor jobs that all of a sudden are going to be disrupted. We're talking about anything that can be manipulated with data and information is going to be highly commoditized, and that is going to be a huge game changer.
Well, but Grant, let's keep in mind that those kind of jobs you're talking about are the lower level data jobs. They're kind of the repetitive menial jobs in data that will go with people that can take the results, analyze it, and come up with human-based assumptions, are still in effect. So let's talk about another one real quick, okay? It's Resolve, which is an AI platform for agentic commerce.
Agentic commerce, okay.
Okay, so I know you like that one. Bought Reward, which is a card-linked cashback offer system to match up to their AI e-commerce platform, right?
Wow.
So
yeah,
the result of that will be to use Resolve.
Well, I'm not familiar with Resolve as an agentic tool, but I've got to look these up. Everybody listening to us, you've got to understand what the platform shift that is changing, and it is changing rapidly when you're talking about the manipulation of data and information. And look at what I just said, data information. When you look at crypto, that is what crypto is. It's data information. So if you can manipulate that, you can control that, and you can operationalize it, that is what agentic AI and it, oh, by the way, I can add human-like voice commands to it. So your voice, your text, your video. The world is changing right in front of us. And we've got to upskill in these areas to understand where we fit as that human in the loop entity. But if you don't understand analytics, you don't understand critical thinking, you don't understand design thinking, you've got to get to a higher level.
So, Grant, I got one more that really surprised me and probably will surprise you. Do you know of a company called Beast Industry?
Yeah. BEAST,
Yep.
Like Mr. Beast or something different?
In fact, that's Mr. Beast's company, okay?
Yeah.
It's a $5.2 billion company that is run by Jimmy Donaldson, known as Mr. Beast, who's 27 years old, right? It is the most subscribed YouTube channel in the world with over 450 million subscribers, right?
That's crazy.
They generate over 5 billion.
$5 billion by one guy talking on YouTube. I mean,
Yep.
that's such a game changer.
Okay, so here's the game changer though. They just purchased Step. Step is a digital bank that targets Gen Z and Gen Alpha, right? Which is also, by the way, the sweet spot for Mr. Beast and his YouTube channels and everything. So this is a bank now, right? This has an infrastructure with accounts, with card issuance, with credit building. And what their plan is now is to be the gateway to financial adulthood. Nice term.
Yeah.
Nice term.
No, that's it. I'm glad he's doing it for a platform. Financial literacy is huge. You've got to understand this game. If you don't know it, forget about your past. It's about the present, because the future is it's going to be so radically different from the past in certain aspects that you've got to get on board. We're going to go to a really quick break. We're going to come back.
Let me just finish real quick, Mr. Beast, because
Go ahead.
He also has stayed close to home. He has Beast City, which is a massive studio complex in North Carolina, which is where he's from. And
Right.
Keep in mind, Mr. Beast doesn't just have an audience. Here's what he really has: extreme trust, behavioral influence, and the ability to move millions of people into action instantaneously.
That's powerful.
Powerful.
Very
Like we haven't seen. Like we don't even think about. And
I
now he has a bank.
we got to get your tagline right. So that's Mr. Beast, right? We got to get you a good tagline. I want everybody to think about the tagline for Chris. We already know he's not a skinny banker, so we got to get him out a tagline that's going to come out on YouTube, because I got a lot of trust in him. We'll be right back as we close.
Imagine, if you will, a single point of connection that puts at your fingertips all of the things that we do in our daily lives with ease of access and convenience. Whether in your personal life, for work, travel, and entertainment with family, friends, and in your work life. The new OneConnect app is all you need to make your life more manageable and efficient in maximizing the best use of your time. The OneConnect app is your new connection in a world of busy people with lots to do and not enough time to get things done. OneConnect app was created with you in mind and is all you need. Download OneConnect app now. Also visit us at www.oneconnectapp.com.
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaw, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation in the 5-star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaw explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun.
All right, Chris, we're back, man. You are iconic banking guru, Chris Principe, giving us the real skinny. He is not a skinny banker, as we see. He is full of life. So, Chris, what say you?
So great. You know, what I love to do on every show is something that is right up your alley, which is, a really cool branding story. And I got one for us today,
Okay.
which I call, and people call this product the Ocean's Hot Dog. Okay.
Ocean hot dog.
Some people might already know what I'm talking about, but let's go back to like 1900, 1905. Back in those days, the normal American ate over 200 pounds of various meats and only 7 pounds of fish. And yeah, even though the railroads are in place, fish is difficult because, you've got to be able to ship it. It's got to be frozen. It goes bad quick, all these kind of things, right? So now fast forward a little bit to World War II. Now in World War II, because the meat producers shifted their focus to feeding soldiers, there was less meat available in the domestic U.S. market. But fish didn't have that restrictions that there was on meat. So after World War II, the fish business, they tried to figure out how can we be a part of Americans' lives, okay? And in 1953, Grotten's, which is a frozen fish company back in those days and still today, Grotten's came up with a new product, nicknamed the Ocean's Hot Dog, but we know it as fish stick.
Fish sticks. I was going to say, I was going there. I remember fish sticks when he really started coming out, and it was kind of new. But I didn't realize the disparity between how much food was consumed in beef and fish. I didn't know it was that big.
Well, so very interesting that and they went out with a big marketing campaign to make fish sticks a luxury food item, to make it the changing in business. After World War II and everything, a lot of things were changing quickly, sort of like we see today, right? So they also marketed as the housewife's helper. Fish sticks so fast, so easy. Nutrition is get something different. And they did something also very smart, Grotten's. They went to the school cafeteria programs.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned. That's probably the first place I saw a fish stick.
That is where I know fish sticks from. And I can tell you, and it's probably true in a lot of the country, that typically on Fridays, we don't eat meat, right? Being Catholic, this is kind of a thing. So the schools did that. So on Friday, it was fish sticks all the time. In the 60s, when I was going to the cafeteria in school, it was fish sticks every Friday.
I love it.
Okay? And then when that started slowing down, of course, is when frozen pizza started appearing on the school menus. But fish sticks is a staple. Okay? Now, here's what's interesting.
Yeah.
Today, fish sticks have seen an increase since the pandemic.
Yeah.
Increasing in the consumption of fish sticks. I don't know exactly what to attribute that to, but what happens is when you sell fish sticks in school for school cafeterias, not only are you taking care of Friday dietary restrictions, not only are you taking care of getting fish into the kids, but you're developing a career, a history of going forward generations of fish stick lovers, right? And that's what's happening today. And today, Americans consume over 65 million pounds of the Ocean's Hot Dog.
The Ocean's Hot Dog. Man, I mean, this guy's always got a branding story. Well, let's have some fun with Chris. He talked about Mr. Beast earlier, and you know why he is so popular now. Number one, he has a very memorable, I would say, tagline or online presence. You say, most people don't even know his real name. Chris knows his real name. I want to have a little fun with our audience here. I want people to talk about, put into the comments, what would be a great name for Chris as his on-air YouTube handle as we go forward. Now, I'm going to help you because I got a couple of picks here. These are my picks, but I want you to think about, Chris. You've been listening to The Big Picture and some of these shows. You can see all the shows. You can go to Financial IT on YouTube, see a ton of our shows that we've done. Come up with a tagline. They're going to get a vibe going for Chris. So first we got Captain Cash Flow. I'm like, wow, Captain Cash Flow. I think that guy right there looks like Captain Cash Flow to me. He's a real good guy. Then we got Receipts Principe. Now, I'm not a big one on that, but if you're a foodie or something like that, Receipts Principe, it's okay. Now, I'm not mad at it, but I also like this one better. The Money Magnet. Wow, the Money Magnet. I mean, look at him. He backed up. I am the Money Magnet. You can go to, Chris travels all over the world. He goes to so many different conventions, so many different events worldwide. People know his face. Chris, the Money Magnet Principe. Man, he's coming into the ring.
Great. You are a dangerous man.
That's my middle name, right?
I'll tell you that'll be interesting. I mean, actually, one term that I've had used to me in the past was bank captain.
I like that. The bank captain. The bank captain is okay. You can use it in a sentence, but is it memorable? The Money Magnet. That's my number one. I'm going, Chris, the Money Magnet Principe. I could bring you to a ring. I could bring you up on stage. It could be 20,000 people. The Money Magnet. Be like, the Money Magnet. Who would not want to get advice from the Money Magnet?
Hey, it's growing on me, Grant. It really is.
I see he's turning green already. He's turning green right in front of it. So, Chris, we only got about a minute left. And we've talked about the last 4 weeks, consumer payments. I think people are tuning in like, I'm learning things that I did not know. And Chris is always bringing some things out that most people don't know that it's useful. It's useful information about these things. What do you think we're going to talk about next week? What's going on?
Wow. Well, I got to tell you, we have been on a hot streak with this payments conversation. And it's a good one because there's so much is happening and it's part of everyone's daily life, right? Literally, right? I'm thinking that maybe we'll talk a little bit about the other side, the merchant side of this,
I like that. I like that.
And be able to give people some insight into what goes on in the merchant site so they can offer me not only the products that I want, need, and buy, but, the numbers behind it. Because,
I like it. I mean, I think I'm going to ask you, we'll talk about next week. Is the cash register a thing of the past? Is this something going to be in a museum or something like that? There's so many different electronic cash payment systems that it may be. People use Square. There's so many different ways. There's so many different ways to get money. Like, I think cash still today is almost like, oh my God, you want money? I got to get change. And then probably even the cashiers are like, I don't even know how to count this stuff out. This has become a problem. We got to go right now. But Chris, I want to thank you. And I want everybody to remember this. Chris, the Money Magnet Principe, will be back with us next week. I tagged it. I branded it. That is the going. Hey, 2026, the Money Magnet is coming to you. Thank you again for being on the show, Chris.
Thanks, Grant.
You're welcome.
Welcome to our TV network, your ultimate destination for all things exciting and essential. From mouth-watering food to the latest in fashion, health, education, music, movies, and news, plus thrilling sports and breathtaking travel. Our TV network brings it all to you. Tune in today and experience the best of every world. All in one place, RTV.network.